Thank you so much.
왜 내가 없지?
Next time, me like that guy's house. The meal will be on.
원이 없냐?
Like, say, for instance, my house, my husband, but right, that's what I thought.
NGO 2016! Let's keep trending! Keep it trending!
UN NGO 2016 in all your posts. Okay, next, Youth Subcommittee and DPI NGO with Ambassador. Only UNDPI and Youth Subcommittee, please. Crystal, what are you doing here? Come here. UNDPI! Yeonju!
Okay, you have to be youth. Okay, cheese!
Generational
Wait, this is a big one. Don't move. Okay, wait for you, Mother.
Yeah, it's scary. We've never had a conference that we've
Say youth.
I know, I'm good.
Traditional Korean.
We also have Mr. Bruce Knox, who is the NGO DPI Executive Committee, and we also have Scott, that is the co-chair of the conference. So, Ambassador, if you would like to say a few words.
Hello everybody. Hello. My name is Han Chung-hee. I'm Deputy Permanent Representative of the Republic of Korea to the United Nations. I'm very happy to meet all of you, and also I'm very proud to host this 66th annual conference of, we call it DPI, UNDPI and NGO conference, to be held in Gyeongju. You know the town named Gyeongju in South Korea? Actually, that's the town I was born. You know? So I'm very pleased to see that. This is first NGO conference held in Asia, right, as you know, and also first conference to focus on education, you know, during last 66 years. So I think it's quite meaningful. Let me show you two special, you know, meanings in my view. First thing is we'll talk about education. But I think focusing on next generation, like you. I think many people will attend that conference in Korea. So I think you will enjoy, you know, this conference as well as Korea too. Particularly, you know, education is one of the, you know, 17 goals. As you know, you got, you know, goal number 4. We will see education is really, you know, overarching goals out of 17, and cross-cutting, you know, all different, you know, goals and targets. So we believe that this is really important thing, particularly focusing on, you know, next generation. And also UN is focusing on global partnership, you know, which invite all different stakeholders, you know, not only government but also private sector, academia, and youth, you know, civil society. All stakeholders should together get together to find out, you know, common solution on how to deal with the global challenges we are facing. Peace, conflict, poverty, human rights, migration, all this kind of issue. So I think without participation of young generation, next generation, I don't think our discussion is meaningful, that much. So I think so in that sense, you are not just like a bystander to see what is going on, but you should be engaged as a real partner and stakeholder in all discussions in Korea. So in that sense, it is quite important. Second importance I'd like to pay your attention is, what is the title of this, subject of this conference? You know that? What is it? Education for Global Citizenship. Yeah. That myself and Korea is promoting this concept, global citizenship education, or education for global citizenship. Do you know at which target in Goal 4 where this global citizenship education is included?
4.7.
Exactly, yeah, you're right. 4.7. For the first time in the history of this SDG related thing, or development or education, this was marked as one specific target, under the goal number 4 on the education. But I don't think this global citizenship concept should be just confined in 4.7. This could be one of the ultimate objective of even UN discussion, including all peace, development, human rights, because this is end goal that we are trying to achieve. Because some people have your own children, elementary school, they don't know what is going on in the world, like humanitarian situation and violent extremism and conflict based on root cause of the problem, different culture, different religion, and also climate change, challenges. All those complexity of the global issue should be understood by starting from young generation, from elementary school and middle school. So this is exactly what global citizenship education is aiming. Usually education is always focusing on skill and know-how to have a job, in society, or sometimes as a platform to go to the next stage of higher education, right? But this global citizenship education is focusing on orientation of education, what kind of global citizen we are trying to achieve. So I think it's very deep discussion on, first of all, recognizing human dignity of everybody, including yourself and others. This is base. On top of that, we are talking about three relationships with three P's. First relationship is a relationship with other people. Second relationship is a relationship with planet. Third relationship is a relationship with people in need. So we have peaceful relationship with other people or other nation or other people. Secondly, we have to be conscious about climate change challenges around the world. And third one is we have to express compassion and empathy to the people in need, most marginalized and isolated and vulnerable groups around the world. So this is a so-called main thrust of the curriculum or contents on global citizenship education. So I hope that you can pay attention on this new education discourse globally and internationally. In New York, usually education is discussed in UNESCO in Paris, but particularly this global citizenship education will be discussed in New York too, because this is dealing with the violent extremism and a lot of different cultural or civilization issues. So I hope that you can focus on this issue throughout the conference in Korea, but beyond. So I'm very happy to with all of you. If you have any question on these issues, you can do that today or next time. You can contact me anytime. Our permanent mission is just next door, so it's very convenient. And very nice to meet you. Welcome to Korea in May, end of May, and that's most beautiful season. Gyeongju is my hometown. If you go over there, I will recommend one final tip is there is a very famous boulangerie. We call it Hwangnam-bang. This is this is very small with bean paste thing, very sweet and very famous. It was almost done like half century boulangerie. We call it good bread. Hwangnam-bang. You can try. Okay, thank you very much. And
Thank you very much, Ambassador Han. I would like to invite also Mr. Bruce Knox, who is the Director of the Executive Committee of DPI NGO.
All right, thank you. Well, I'm so glad that you come to this conference and to this networking session. As was mentioned, I chair the NGO committee, NGO DPI Executive Committee, which represents something like 1,400 NGOs working together in partnership with DPI. And we've been putting on these conferences. This is going to be the 66th conference. And we usually try to have a youth component for those who can't actually travel to the conference. So that's what we're hoping to do today. But as Ambassador Han said, this is a conversation that should not end today and should not even end in May. It should be an ongoing conversation into the future. And I just want to highlight a couple of aspects of global citizenship to amplify what Ambassador Han has just mentioned. There are two areas that I think we really need to think more globally rather than nationalistically. And those two areas are in the areas of disarmament and climate change. In disarmament, often when we think of, well, we need to have arms, we need to arm our country with nuclear weapons as a nuclear deterrent to deter an attack from overseas. That makes perfect sense when you're thinking from a national perspective. It doesn't make any sense at all when you're thinking from a global perspective, because if there was ever to be a nuclear exchange of weapons, it would be the end of us all. And so, as the Holy Father, the Pope, said when he came here, he said nuclear deterrence is immoral. And so when you think of these issues of disarmament in a global perspective, they begin to take on a whole new dimension that you really can't see from a national perspective. The other area is climate change. And I've talked to several people from the U.S. Delegation who have worked on climate change issues and of course have followed the COP21 discussions in Paris very closely. And again, nations will try to make sure they get the maximum advantage for their nation in any agreement. Recently, the United States, and more recently than that, even India, has been very concerned about making sure that their national interests are preserved vis-a-vis other countries in climate change agreements. And again, that makes perfect sense from a national perspective. But when you think globally, we all share this planet together. And if we stand in the way and do not do something important and meaningful on climate change, we're all going to suffer. And so again, thinking about climate change from a global perspective gives you a totally different viewpoint than from a national perspective. And so education for global citizenship hopefully will give us all these global perspectives on these global issues that affect us all, and maybe kind of wean us away from thinking in nationalistic terms and thinking more in global terms, so we preserve this planet for all of us and for all the generations to come. And you all are very important in this conversation. Recently I've talked to some people and they say, oh, that United Nations, that's kind of that exclusive club over there, and it's only for very exclusive, special people. Well, the United Nations, the UN Charter starts off by saying, we the peoples of the United Nations. So that means that building over there and all of its agencies belong to all of us. and we're all participants in this. And they want to hear from us, and they need to hear from us. We need to be part of this conversation. From now until eternity, we need to be part of this conversation with the United Nations, because all of our futures are at stake. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. If I add one thing, if you are interested in this, he mentioned about global citizenship education. If you are interested in this idea, you can contact me. You can ask my business card, so I can share, give you some information about that. One final thing I'd like to share with you, as you are, many people who are going to Korea, you will maybe feel, tension, some kind of, even though it does not mean that it's not safe, but, core fact of life is, North Korea was, straight together with South Korea. They are trying to provoke, a lot of things. But I think I don't want to touch, that political or secret side thing. But what I'm asking you to pondering a little bit, what is the best way, to give 25 million North Korean people, the dignity, and then, human rights, and global citizen, that we are talking about. What is the best way, to give them this kind of opportunity and well-being, happiness, and joy. So I think this could be your, thinking, or could be your prayer, So I think this could be an opportunity for you to think about, why you are in Korea.
Ambassador,
Thank you.
Ambassador, I just want to ask you one question as an elder. First of all, I want the young people to know that it's a beautiful country, and that if all the young people, I've been there 3 times, if they can go do the peace walk for unification and for global citizenship, just let them do the peace walk there. A wonderful country. Thank you for inviting us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And lastly, we would like to invite Mr. Scott to give a last remark.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So it's a wonderful crowd. Thank you for joining us from across the street today. So Scott Carlin, co-chair from the New York side for this conference coming up in Gyeongju, and my counterpart co-chair is Yukang Choi in Korea. So we have a team of subcommittees that have been working here in New York. Youth is one of about a dozen different subcommittees that has been doing all this challenging work, and I think the next 30 days will be the most challenging part of our effort so far. And similarly, over in Korea, they have a dozen or so subcommittees that are championing all kinds of work that has to happen prior to the conference. So if you have any questions at all about the mechanics of how all that works, I'm happy to try to answer that, or make sure you get answers in subsequent days so you know exactly all the information you need. Please share that information, right? I think one of the most important things you can do today is make a friend here in the room. Turn around, introduce yourself to somebody, find out a little bit more about that person, the NGO that they represent, and try to stay in touch going forward. See how that new connection might take you both to someplace interesting and exciting and new, because really that's the essence of what global citizenship is about, is really being able to enjoy each other's presence here on this planet, and trying to figure out how we live in a new, more sustainable way on this planet. So, when I look at these lists, first of all, I'm struck by kind of the visual connection I have with these icons. It was really well done, the way this is presented. Your eye just kind of wants to understand all the information that's contained here. But I also know that when I share this kind of information with colleagues, it's more often than not, I get the eyes starting to roll. First of all, it's associated with the UN. A lot of people have mixed feelings about the UN in the United States. But this sounds very idealistic, and the UN is known for kind of launching forward with crazy idealistic ideas like world peace. So people want to know, what's this going to cost me? Because I'm probably just going to be robbed by the UN for this new project, and where's it really going to go? But you're all very educated, and you all have some sensitivity towards what these goals represent, and a lot of you are idealistic, and you have a hope and belief that the future not only can, but really should be better than the past. So no doubt you too will encounter maybe one cynic along the way who doesn't share your passion for all these different objectives, and you'd like to know, how do you engage with the cynics? Bruce was talking about nuclear disarmament, which is an incredibly important issue, and it's an issue that moves forward like millimeter by millimeter every decade or year. It's an incredibly long struggle because national governments have a lot invested in those weapons. They mean a lot to national identity and national pride. This is new, right? This is the new kid on the block. Nobody is invested in the same way as they are in older technologies. But this, for me, is really 21st century national security. We only have one chance to kind of make sure that we're finding ways to build global resilience in the face of things that are going to happen in the future, that we're building new connections among nations. And global security is really a transformative process. I think that's ultimately what we're talking about. You're really living on a major sea change in human existence on the planet. It's kind of hard to accept that, but life is just kind of catapulting us forward, and we are living on this planet that seems smaller and smaller every year. We have to figure out how to live with each other more harmoniously. And this really is our best global platform. If you've got a better one, I'd love to hear it, for global security. We can't afford to just only focus on national security. It has to be about global security. Thank you, Howard.
Everybody
I gave them a link to that material that SD uses and they were I know.
One more?
What's the word? We worked really hard. Cool.
Yeah, we can speak both Chinese or English, whatever. That's like
it was hard work to put this together.
Yeah.
We spent like 我们花了好多时间来 来决定我们会做什么，谁会speak these things.
Yeah, to assign the jobs, responsibilities.
Yeah. Our co-chairs, they we're here until like very late at night.
Yeah.
Put this together. 我昨天晚上熬夜了。 it was
What
bad.
time you sleep?
3点
Wow, 17.
I had to be up by 6.
Oh my god.
Yeah. 高度时期的部门，我们在世界上，我们有差不多1400的组织organizations
In United Nations?
who we work with them， 我们互相工作。
Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Come.
It's not. No, it's daytime. That's early. That's okay. Your bus is not going to leave you. Okay.
Now they're coming.
Thank you.
Very nice.
So you know Poughkeepsie,
Get a picture in front of him.
Except when it's something important I have to do, that's when it's after.